Hi, my name's Jim. Welcome to my humble man cave. Obviously, I got a variety of different interests, but today I'd like to talk to you about some tips and tricks with regard to radio-controlled stuff. And be a great variety of different things, everything from how to store your planes to how you set up a box with all your gear and things. Speaking of gear, this is my flight box right here. So I've got my transmitter stored in here. I've got my batteries for flying electric. Got my 12-volt charger, cables. Got another battery for a nitro plane. I've got my power checker sort of thing, and good old American secrets from way back. A little box with various connectors and stuff in it. So most of this is pretty stock standard. You've got the partitions that you can just place wherever you need them. So I've got this one in there right for the transmitter. But what I don't want is stuff falling over from the box from this side with all the cables and stuff on top of my transmitter. Plus I don't want the transmitter falling forward and having the gimbals knocking against the top of the box. So what I've done is I've taken some styrofoam from one of the boxes of the airplanes that I've purchased. Actually, that Ranger that you saw earlier, and I've actually used a radial arm saw to cut these things to shape, and with a fine-tooth blade, it's amazing how well it cuts. I've then used Gorilla Glue, which works really good on the foam. I use the Gorilla Glue to foam these pieces in place. And as you can see, I've also got this little bit that I put in here with a bit of softer foam on the end of it to just press down on the middle of the transmitter to keep it there, to make sure that the gimbals are not getting knocked around. And I glued a bit of foam here on the end just to help hold that end in place. So it all comes out quite nicely. When you go to put it in, you just slot her in there. Got the notch out here for the antenna, and of course this piece comes down right against the partition here, so that keeps all of this stuff over here where it belongs, and this one comes down against that and keeps all of that gear where it belongs. So that's the transmitter box. Okay, well, the transmitter box has a number of really neat tricks and gimmicks associated with it. My toolbox is, a bit more ordinary, but some of the things inside the toolbox might be a bit of a help to you. Let's have a look at that. So here's my toolbox. It's pretty ordinary, nothing spectacular about the box, just again a typical box that you get at Bunnings or whatever. With a spot for ordinary type tools. But yeah, some interesting things in here. First off, I keep all of the little bits and pieces for each of my models in here. You got little bolts for bolting on the wings and clips to hold the struts and, an antenna in this particular case. For another one, a couple more bolts for bolting on the wing and the antenna and whatever. So each model has got its own little plastic bag of stuff. So that's important. Other things are pretty standard that in here, just ordinary set of tools. I do have an interesting little thing here. This is just a case that I got with a pair of glasses that I bought a long time ago. But it's absolutely great for all of the little ball driver Allen tools. So I've got all of the little ones in there, and I got the big ones up here in the top, along with the screwdrivers and things like that. Always good to have a pair of tweezers in your box. You never know when you're going to have to fish out a cable or something out of a model or something like that. And of course, little tools you can grab a hold of things with are really handy as well. Certainly something to cut stuff with is going to be very appropriate. So that's the stuff up there. More ordinary tools down here, just a very basic first aid bit of stuff in case you cut yourself or whatever. It's got some jeweler's screwdrivers in there and that. Now this is an interesting one. Bit of rope. Sometime if it's windy and the plane is sort of bouncing around on the table at the field, you actually might want to tie it down. I mean, they tie down big airplanes, so occasionally I'll tie down my little one if I'm a little bit worried. I don't want the thing flying off just on its own. Of course, zip tie things are very appropriate to, or cable ties are very appropriate to have at times. You might need some other little parts and things, naturally some spare props, just whatever gear that you might need along the way. Have it in here and it'll be really handy. There's one thing that I've got in here though that might be a little bit different than what you might need, and that is a compass. And you might wonder, what on earth would I need a compass for? Well, there may just be a time when your plane sort of ends up going where it's not supposed to go and off into the bush or whatever. Our flying field is surrounded by bush. And so if you lose a plane off of the field, it's going to be a challenge finding it. But if you get a landmark in sight when it goes down, and you keep that in mind, go back to your box, get your compass, then you can take a bearing towards that landmark, see what the reading is on your compass, follow it to the edge of the bush, take a bearing again, find another mark out in the bush that is aligned with that, head towards that as you're looking around for the plane, and keep following that bearing, and you'll be much better off in locating your plane. So those are just a few bits and tricks and things such as that. Trust that they're helpful to you, and if you like it, well, have a look at some more. We're down to earth here, no big sponsors or anything like that, just down to earth little tips and tricks of things that we've learned along the way. Thank you very much.